why I'm running again. The one thing I did want to mention about the retrofitting. I understand the issue of carve-out. And if we can't do something to help you, then maybe that's the last resort. But if you get a carve-out, what's the next person who has an environmental issue wants to carve-out? And the next person. You know, and then everybody gets a carve-out. And then we don't address climate change. We have to bite the bullet. But that doesn't mean you have to, have the financial burden of doing it. I suggested we create a bond act. We need billions of dollars to do this. Not only for the retrofitting of courts and condos, but to upgrade our sewer and system to deal with that 1 in 50-year storm that's now happening every 5 years. We can't ignore this problem, and doing a carve-out doesn't get us there. Doesn't help us, doesn't help you, it doesn't help any of us. We've got to do the right thing here, but you shouldn't have the financial burden for that. I want to thank the Civic again for having us. I hope I can have your support again today, primary, and most importantly in the general election. Because whether you're Republican, Independent, Democrat, Vicky Palladino is an embarrassment for us all.
Folks, experience matters 100%. I have spent my full career working as a prosecutor in an office that is arguably the most important office when it comes to the issues facing this community. We've heard the statistics about what crime is and how bad it's becoming. I have the experience to combat that. And also talking about experience, when you have a track record, as long as some of my opponents have had, you build either goodwill or bad will with colleagues in elected positions. And if you don't have that goodwill, you can propose any sorts of carve-outs, budgets, and funds for the community, but you can't pass laws alone. And I assure you, I have what it takes to work with other elected officials to build bridges and not to burn them. Thank you.
I just want to thank you all for having me tonight, number one. Number two, I just want to reiterate what I said before. I have 30 years of working in our communities. I worked very closely with Tony when he was on the council and even in the state senate. But a 4.5-year gap of not being involved during the most important crises, existential crises that we've had is unacceptable to anybody. We have now gone 3 years in a row where our government, both from the city and from the state, have tried to literally destroy our communities. And with all due respect to Chris, and I don't blame him, the other two people up here were not involved. They weren't involved in other things as well. The MTA bus rerouting, they weren't at that. They weren't around for the redistricting fight that went on last year, that I was involved in every single district. And I did this all pro bono, as I've always done most of my work. I've done it for us. So I hope you'll consider voting for me. And again, thank you very much tonight. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to thank Dennis for organizing.
Big round of applause for Dennis.
I want to thank the candidates for coming. I think that we probably had one of the better candidates nights in terms of a in-depth discussion, intelligent responses, and I think we've also seen a lot of people who've done work in the community or future work, it may be, and the most important thing is to vote. I cannot tell you that over the last 2 years, it's been very difficult as a civic leader to get anything done. Okay, it's gotten worse. This community has been spoiled in many respects by having people in office who've done outstanding work over the years. That is not true today. Okay, we have people there, but they're struggling. Okay, we're missing a few legs off the table. and we need to get that back, and we need to get good people. And the only way we get good people is for you to vote. You get your friends to vote, and vote for whoever you want, but get them into office. That's very important. Now, it was sort of alluded to before that, as you know, we've been fighting very hard against the governors and the governor's plan about the housing compact, okay? There have been some negotiations that have been going back and forth, some of them difficult negotiations in Albany between the Assembly and the Senate. That is one place where our leadership here, elected leadership, is doing a yeoman's job. We'll talk more to that when this is completely over. But I don't want to get too much into the details of that because negotiations are still ongoing. But we've won half the battle. We have one part of the battle, which is the illegal apartments, okay, that are there. And that's still on the table. So hopefully we'll get that taken out and we'll go on to other issues. They are fighting about bail, and I don't know what they're gonna come up with that, but the legislature's not been known to be somebody who can write well. For whatever they have. So that's important. Please go back, get your email addresses up and going again to the governor. The illegals basement apartments have to go. I've had one thing I've said to elected officials, okay, and you can appreciate this, and you can appreciate this. If you allow the basement apartments to continue, you're an accomplice to homicide,
Yeah.
okay? I've seen many deaths, okay, as a prosecutor, okay? When I went out to Happy Land, I did not enjoy looking at those number of dead bodies, okay? And that's all because you told the city to lay off, okay? It's a very serious issue. So that we still have to fight about. You'll have to make your phone calls, send your emails, call up the governor's office, because right now that's where the problem still resides.
And make sure the state senate and assembly holds strong.
Yeah, you want to do that. Right now, our people are holding strong, okay? They are holding strong. And a lot of things have been ongoing. You guys know about it. It's like a giant iceberg. Most of it's under the water. We're working on a lot of negotiations on a lot of things that are happening. And a lot of pressure still, economic pressure is still on our area and our communities. Paul sort of alluded to it, but we need strong people in the city council, okay? Well, I'm not here to advocate for one or the other. We're nonpartisan, but we need strong people with experience to get something done. That's there. And that understand the issues, that don't lie to us and cheat on us and just betray us, okay? We've never had that in the past, so it's difficult to deal with. Any other questions or new business somebody wants to bring up? Yes, ma'am.
What's the story with the homeless shelter?
The story with the homeless shelter is, I don't know, okay? We are looking at taking them to task because that building was built as a variance. The city seems to feel this lawlessness, okay? The city council and the mayor's office and all the agencies do what they want. They don't follow the law whatsoever, okay? It's very expensive to do lawsuits. We spend a lot of money, and we help raise that money for us. We're trying to see if we can somehow attack them administratively. Because the city says once the variance, you get the third story, you can use it for anything you want after that, okay? Sometimes we have judges that aren't too bright either. That does not count. It's amazing. People just say, do what you want, okay? And so we are fighting on that. They're trying to move in. They did correct the fence height. They put 8-foot fence up, and now it's been, each day it keeps getting cut down a little more. So we're still fighting on that, okay? Again, that's something, you wanna do something on that, write the mayor. Write the mayor. We're not against having homeless there, we're not against having immigrants there, but in limited numbers that can be accommodated in the building, all right? They want 74 people in that space, we can't deal with that. And this is gonna happen to other buildings throughout the community. This is just the first one. Yes?
There's just another thing, the city on Saturday started moving migrants into the Anchor Motor
Oh,
Inn
yeah.
on 215th Street in Bayside. and they said families, but based on what we've seen in Manhattan, it's most likely going to be young men in their late teens and early 20s, and I think that bodes very badly for our community this summer. And I even suspect that we may be seeing a tent city growing in Alley Pond Park. That's what I fear. I don't know.
So I don't know about that, but the point is, your voice, the elected officials respond to your voice. Okay, the reason why we were successful in our fight with the governor, okay, thanks, Paul, you did a lot of great work on that, and we had other civic leaders and people, Paul, you worked on that, and a few others, is because we had the voice of you yelling at the governor's office and yelling at our state senators and yelling at our assembly person, okay, and that motivated them to do something. If you're quiet, I can't do anything for you, okay? And they can't do it, your elected officials can't do it, they gotta say, I have a riot on my hands, that was an uprising of the people. And when we made contacts to people in Westchester, out the island, upstate New York, Greenwich Village is supporting our position, we're supporting their position, that's in Manhattan, okay, it's all relevant. So it's important that you call once, twice a week, harass the elected officials. That makes a huge difference. That makes a huge, huge difference, because they think, I might lose an election. Okay, that's all they care about.